Hi, everyone. It's Lev from Trotec Canada, and we got Anthony Gibson here for the Inkscape webinar. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We're very happy to bring you. Thanks, Anthony. We're very happy to be here in terms of Inkscape. So Inkscape, I guess Anthony will speak more to it, but Inkscape is it's a free software very similar to Corel and Illustrator in terms of the design. And we're just going to go through the basics of how to get you guys set up and then printing onto job control. So Anthony, if you want to take it away and share your screen there. And I should also mention, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat, and then I will interrupt and ask Anthony.
All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inkscape. So we'll start by opening up Inkscape. You could see right off the bat, we have a little bit, there's some differences here between Inkscape and some of the other programs we've done tutorials on. Inkscape will just, it'll jump you right into its user interface here, and you can start designing right away. So if this doesn't work for you, you can always change your document settings by coming down here. There's a little check mark down here. Yours might be here. My monitor is a little bit small, so you just have to click that drop-down menu and go to Document Properties. From here, you could change all your page settings, as well as many other things here that we'll get into a little bit later. Of course, so we'll start with a new. We can start with a new file. I did just mention that it does just start off right off the bat with this this template here. But if you want to start with a new template here, you can go to your templates, and Inkscape has made it pretty easy and actually gave you I would say the most used templates that people are going to be using when using any design program. So we got business cards, you have papers, maybe a DVD cover is not the most modern thing to do, but you have everything that you are probably going to be making things for are here in your templates. So if you wanted to do a regular page size, just click on your page and it should have some options here for you that are pretty prevalent. So let's jump right into here, and we'll just go over some of our tools here. You're gonna see if you've watched any of our other tutorials that a lot of these tools in all these programs are pretty much the same tools, same functions, with a little bit of differences from program to program. So we have our selection tool here. We have our edit by paths and nodes. A measuring stick here, it's pretty useful. It's right here in the toolbar, which we don't have in some of the other programs here. We have our shape tool. We got a square, circle, some other cool polygons, and we got some spirals and other things that Inkscape has provided us. Down here, you can see we have our freehand lines, our Bezier curves, and if you wanted to do some off-the-fly brush strokes, you could do that as well. To start, we'll start with our font here. So we always like to start with font because it's probably going to be the first thing you do with your laser is writing font. Who doesn't like to put their names on pieces of wood and other cool products? So go ahead, click your font down here. You can click anywhere on the screen to enable the font, or you click and drag to make a text box if you need to write something in a specific area. So go ahead, click on your screen, and we'll just type in anything here. So at the top here, you can see you have the ability to change your fonts if you wanted to go italic, bold, or whatnot, as well as the size of your font. So we'll zoom in here. Navigating around in Inkscape is a little bit different from other programs as well. To zoom in, you're going to want to hold Control and use your scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. To move around, you can hold Spacebar, and that'll automatically, anywhere you move your mouse, your template will move around with your mouse as well. Or you can just press and hold your scroll wheel and move around like that. So let's scroll in here using our selection tool, we'll select our text that we just wrote. So right here we have a basic text, Trotec here. It's all black, RGB black. And if you're familiar with your laser, or maybe this is the first time you've ever used your laser, you're just jumping into it. If you wanted to engrave anything, typically we would say make anything you want engraved to be RGB black. So that's what we use here at Trotec. Of course, you could use your own RGB colors, but for this tutorial, we use RGB black for our engraving. So if we were to send this to our Trotec printer, we will indeed get a Trotec engraving on whatever material we throw into our printer. Now, if we wanted to cut this out, we would have to create a cut line around each letter. To do that, you can click on your object to make sure it's selected. Sorry guys, we can click on our object selected, and at the bottom here you can see we have our fill and our stroke. If you double click on any of these, it'll bring up our fill and stroke manager at the side here. If you go ahead and click, there's a little button here, it's hard to see, you click that. And it'll get added to your Docker here at the side. So from here, you'll see that we have our fill, which is our black here. If you want to change that color, you can go ahead and change the color here to red or whatever you may need it to be. And Inkscape makes it very easy to read that we are using the RGB palette here. So when using your laser, the laser will only read RGB colors. So you're going to want to make sure that you're always using the RGB palette here. If you see anywhere in your color palette that there's a CMYK or any other palette, please make sure that you're going to be changing that, or else you're going to have to change everything at the end of your job when you realize that nothing is printing. So to make the cut lines around our letters, we'll go to our stroke here. And right now there's no stroke, so it's not giving us any options. So we'll go here and do a flat color. We'll change our stroke line to RGB red. Because we like to use red as our cut color. So we've made our stroke line 100% red, and you can see here 255 will be our 100% RGB red. So you do have some other options here, we won't get into them. But of course you could always play around with this and learn some stuff on your own. So we'll go to stroke style here. And in here you have a width. You can select your unit of measurement if you'd like. In other programs, you will have to make your stroke line the smallest line possible within that program for the laser to read it. In Inkscape, as long as you have your stroke selected as a flat color and you have a stroke of anything over 0, the laser will be able to read it no matter what. So if you accidentally didn't make this a hairline or a 0.001 pixel or millimeter stroke weight, in other programs like Corel or Illustrator, you won't have to worry about this in Inkscape, because Inkscape will always recognize that you have a stroke as long as it's turned on. So now that we have our stroke line, I'll make it a little bit bigger here for you guys so you can see it. And we have our stroke color. We should be good here. Bear with me, guys, 1 second. Just having a little bit of a glitch here. All right, guys, we're going to move on to shapes, and we'll get back to the text. My computer is kind of glitching out here. So we'll move on to shapes. Not a big deal. We'll get back to text in a second. With your shape tool here, Inkscape, they've provided this lovely box shape here. I'm sure everyone is familiar with them. So with the shape tool, you can click and drag and make shapes of any size that you'd like. Again, if we go to the bottom here, we have our palette at the bottom. You can always click here from one of the quick selections and change the color of your box or shape that you have drawn. Again, if we go to our stroke at the top here, you can change your stroke color and ensure that it is larger than 0. So I've just changed our stroke color, and I'll change this back to black. So now we have a shape with a stroke around it. It's red because we want it to cut. And we have our square here, all black, so it's going to be engraved. So if you wanted to just cut this square out, you can always come here and change your, of course you could change your fill to any color other than black and the laser won't recognize it. Or you can just go ahead and click no fill and you'll just get your cut lines here. So with the shape tool, you can easily create some signage and promo items very easily. So we've cut out here a rectangle. We'll put some more shapes here. Let's check out some of our cool shapes that Inkscape has provided us. So you can make polygons and stars here. You can choose the amount of corners that you want. Let's do a 6-corner star. Look at that. We've got a star here that we'll cut out, and let's go ahead and engrave one as well. So of course we want to engrave, so we'll change the fill of this to black, making sure it's RGB 100% black here. So that is how you create some shapes. Now, once you start creating shapes, you're going to want to maybe make them customized. Maybe you have some overlapping shapes such as this, and you want to weld them together or clip them and make some new shapes from the intersection. So to do that, you can overlap your shapes in any way you like. Let's get some different shapes going on here. Everybody likes circles. And we'll change our stroke, our fill, sorry, to nothing again. Now by selecting 2 shapes or more at the same time, so we selected our star and our circle, our ellipse here, we could go to our path, and we have a few different options here. So we have union, difference, intersection, exclusion, division, and cut path line. The best way to figure out how these work is to play around with them, but we'll show you an example here. Union, of course, just like what it says, it's going to join these 2 shapes together, making it one shape. So we just united these shapes together, and we have our new shape. So we'll go ahead, press Ctrl-Z to back up. Let's select those 2 shapes again and try out some of these other cool features. So difference will give us a, so you just saw there our layer on top of our first layer has cut and made a new shape using what was on top of that star. So if we go back here, you'll see that that circle actually cut out that star there. So let's go ahead, select this again. And we could go to intersection. So our intersection will give us a new, where those 2 pieces had intersected, you'll have a new shape from that intersection. So you see here, I'll move these around, and we got a new shape here. So that would be the intersection tool. Again, let's select these shapes. So you can always drag to select, or you can hold shift and click on each to have them both selected. So back to path, and we'll do exclusion. From exclusion, it looks like nothing has changed here, but if we move these around, it looks like they've been grouped together. Let's go back, select our shapes, go to path, and now we have division. So we have a few new shapes here. It's almost like our intersection tool, but we're going to actually keep both shapes, and now everything has been cut up. And our final shape feature here is the cutout path. So again, this is great if you want to create shapes and you need to make a slice in the line. I know this is a little bit harder to do, and not harder, but maybe a little bit more confusing to figure out in other programs to make a slice. So you just saw what we did there. If you do need to, maybe you had to open up this square here and you wanted to continue it, but remove the middle line here, you can always make another square. And then we'll use our selection tool, go to path, and cut. So now what we did is made a line here that is removed. Also good to note that you're going to want to make sure, if you are uniting shapes together, that their properties are somewhat the same, or your top layer is the properties that you want for the new shape that you're going to be making. But what I mean by that is, if you have two shapes, you drag them over top of each other, and we go to our path and do union. You'll see that our oval here has now it's been given the same properties as our star. So I'll get into our object manager. So now that we have some objects down on our page here, you're going to want to be able to keep track of these. So in other programs, you'll have a doc here on the side that'll list every single object that you've laid down, every line, every piece of text, every shape that you've made should all pop up here. Now in Inkscape, it's nowhere to be found. If you're using an older version of Inkscape, this is not a feature that was in the older versions of Inkscape. So I think it was in 2017. If you have anything past 2017 of Inkscape, which you have no excuse, it is a free program, so go download the newest version. You'll have your object manager that we can make appear here on the left-hand side. So to do that, let's go to our object drop-down menu and click on objects. They made it super easy to find for everybody who was looking for that. So we want to add it to our Docker, so you can come here and click. So once you have your Docker here, we'll keep it here for now. There's something going wrong with my computer at the moment, but there is a little icon here. It's very hard to see. If you click that, it should add your Docker to the side here. So let's try this one more time. Well, I assure you guys, if you click this little icon here, the Docker should pop itself into the side here. Anyway, now that we have our objects doc, we can see here all of our objects. So we could come here and click on our docs, and it'll highlight which object we have selected. So why this is useful is because when you're sending this to your laser is going to cut in the order of these objects. So when the laser starts, it's going to start by cutting out this oval and then our star on the side here. And as you can see, the sequence here. So of course this is important. There are options in job control, so you can cut out your inner geometries first. So that will always be overridden by job control if that is selected. However, this, depending on what you're doing, maybe you're doing many maybe small products or small promo items or gifts. If there's hundreds of them on the same job, you're going to want your machine to be as accurate, as efficient as possible. So, but by lining up your cuts from point A to point B, being the smallest distance from one part to the other, you can save a lot of time by making sure that your paths are in the right order. So again, to find your object manager, go to Object and select Objects. Very simple. So, showed you how to make some shapes. We'll get back to the font. Let's make some custom shapes on the fly. So we do have some options here. We have a draw freehand line. This is great. You can click once, drag, it'll draw a straight line in any direction that you move your cursor. And once you click again, it'll draw that line. So this is great. To continue the shape, you'll have to click on this node here again. It is a little bit of a setback as you have to find that node one more time, or you could just double click and it'll continue. Now you'll have to find that node. You'll have a little pop-up that says handle. And once you see that, you know you could click and it's going to close your shape. If you've clicked maybe outside of your node and you try to assign a color to the shape, nothing's going to happen. Your full shape isn't going to be colored in. So let's back up here and we'll close that shape in perfectly. Now if we fill this, start with the new shape here. You'll see once your shape is closed, it can now be filled. So if for whatever reason you're trying to fill your shape that you've created and it's not filling, most likely you have a node that's very close to being closed that you can't see with your eye, but it's just not fully closed. So make sure that you're doing this. This may be annoying. It is annoying for me, I can say from my experience. By annoying, I mean you have to click on a node again to continue that shape. So what I like to use is the Bezier curve. The Bezier curve is made for making curved objects like this ellipse, maybe not this perfect, but it can also be used to make straight cuts as well. So you can see it's going to start that same line again. Click again, it allows you to continue that shape. So you can just make your shape, close it, and now your shape's done. No need to double click here and there on new nodes. Now how the Bezier is different, other than being a little bit quicker than the straight lines, you can click and drag to a point, and when you let go, you now have the option to make that a curve. And there's our new shape. So we can fill that shape with black. We can give it a fill and a stroke. And be on our way. So we've showed you how to make some shapes on the fly using our shape tools. We showed you how to make shapes right off by hand with these new drawing tools. So let's show you how you can manipulate all of these shapes. So if you
Sorry, I just want to add. Oh, I got a echo.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, no, I just wanted to add. So if you guys are making any kind of like in terms of what you need shapes for, obviously for the laser users, your awards and trophy guys, or sign makers, or just general engravers, and you have customers with different settings. I mean, this is why the shape tools are so important. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, so pretty much it does seem basic right now, guys, but everything you make will be made with a line or a shape. It's just a combination of those lines and shapes will get you any design that you've ever seen out there. This is how everybody does it from beginner to pro. So just keep that in mind, because I know seeing an oblong here or a six-sided star here is a little bit basic, but using these exact same methods with a little bit more elbow grease, you're going to get pretty much anything that you want to make yourself. So with these shapes, we're going to show you how you can manipulate them if they're not exactly how you want. Maybe this triangle has to be a little bit of a different angle. So let's go ahead. We can select this triangle, and with your Edit Path by Nodes tool, you could select each node. So you see these little dots pop up here at every point of our shape. Those would be our nodes. You can click on a node and drag it around, and now your shape is being changed to your desire. Come here and click on a different shape, and for curves you'll see the nodes go to where we stretched our lines out using our Bezier curve tool. So with these nodes, if you click on a node that's on a curve, you'll get these things called handles. And all these handles are, so we can move our nodes around, and that's great, but the handles will allow us to adjust our curve size and angle, like so. And of course you can do this for both sides. So to get those handles to pop up again, just click on the node using your node selection, and you can then adjust your handles from there. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and make a quick file here and show you how we can print it, along with other little tips here. So we got our, we'll start here with a simple square. Let's go with some text here, and we'll try our text again. Click anywhere you like. We'll do Trotec, and we'll expand our font. Bold. There we go.
Sorry, Anthony, I got disconnected for a quick second, but yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, we're picking back up on the font because I was just having, my computer was glitching out there at the beginning, but it seems to be working now. So I'll start. I'll give you the quick run through again. So you're going to want to select your font. We'll click here anywhere you like. If you want the font to, if maybe you're doing a paragraph or a long text, you can make a text box so the text only falls within that box. So for right now, we'll click on anywhere on the screen and type in our font. We'll go here and change our, we'll change it to bold, and we'll make this 48. Now let's go a little bit bigger. There you go. Now with our selection tool here, we'll select our...
Sorry, Anthony. Sorry, we just got... I think you're not presenting anymore. Can you screen share again?
It says I'm screen sharing. You want me to disconnect?
Yeah, for a second. Then go back to screen share. Okay, I'm not sure.
Are we good?
There's a bit of a delay. Well, I can see it, but I can't see it on the main screen.
Can you see people's text? Is anybody saying anything?
Yeah, I can see. I can see. Well, somebody mentioned that the screen has stopped working. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Well, they can see me. Okay, I think it'll work now. I think because I put you as a presenter. Yeah, I think you're good to go. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you're good to go. Sorry for the hiccup.
Hey guys, sorry about that. So yeah, let's try that one more time. So we'll go and select our font here, and we'll place it into our box that we've made. Let's type in our font. Change it to bold, and we'll go to 56 font size. So from here, we'll use our selection tool, and we can come down here to our stroke, double click, and now that it's working, we can click on flat color. So from here, we'll go and we'll select 255 red. We'll go to our stroke style and make sure that our stroke is over 0 to ensure that the laser can read that it's going to be cutting. Now, there we go. There we go. Okay. So if it's not working for you guys, just make sure you press enter. I think that's where I was having some problems here. So you can't just click away. It won't enable it. So make sure you're pressing enter for your stroke here. So again, for Inkscape, for the laser to register this, you're just going to want to make sure that it's RGB red and that you do have a stroke enabled. If you don't want to cut line, make sure that your strokes are 0, or else the laser is going to recognize it as a cut line. So let's move on here. We have our box with our Trotec symbol. Let's give ourselves a star. Now we have the star here. It's going to be cut out. It's also going to be engraved. We don't want to engrave this, so we'll click here. And we'll remove our fill color. We're going to cut out our star. And change my mind. Let's take away that stroke and not cut out these letters. We'll go back to our stroke and do no stroke. So we are going to engrave our Trotec, cut out this square, and our star here is going to get cut out. But I want to place the star back onto our piece of, let's say, wood here. So I want to make sure that it's placed perfectly. So to do that, I can click on our shape, and we can duplicate it, or you can always press Control D. Now we have our shape duplicated. We can click and drag it over here. There we go. And what we're going to do is find our stroke paint and change it to blue. Now we're going to be using a method that we use here quite a bit. It's called the kiss cut method. And basically what that means is with our red, we're going to change our properties in for our laser so that when it sees red, it's going to cut. So all these red lines will cut here. We're going to program the laser so when it sees a blue line, it's going to cut, but at a very low power. So instead of cutting right through our material, it's just going to kiss the surface of the material and leave a very faint mark on it. Why we do that is when we cut out our star and it falls out of our material, we want to place it somewhere in a perfect position. So using our kiss cut, we have our faint lines, so we know exactly where to place our freshly cut out star here. This is great if you're doing signage with multiple layers of different materials. You can mark your lower piece of material with maybe a picture or a text, and then once that text is cut out, you know exactly where you have to place it, just like we did with the star here. So let's do a line here.
We got a question, Anthony.
Yeah.
When importing a picture and doing a bitmap trace, is there a way to see the path for the laser? I've imported and it looks good, but when it cuts, there is excessive other cuts. And then somebody else mentioned, or path simplify.
Path simplify. Okay. Yeah. So that's a little bit more in-depth. Right now, we're just focusing on the shapes and the lines, but I could address that person later on after the video.
Okay.
So to finish off here, we'll get a line here, and let's make an underline here. Beautiful. We'll go 5 million. So we're almost ready to print. We're going to send this to our laser so we can make this beautiful Trotec star sign. But before we do that, I'm just going to show you guys there is a method that if you do have the capabilities, we have something called the vision camera system that you can mount onto your laser. The vision camera system will find registration marks and cut out exactly where you need to be. So for instance, if you had something printed on your material, you can put some registration marks on it, and the camera will find those registration marks and cut out perfectly around that shape or picture or whatever it may be. So to do this, we'll use this as a sample. But if this was your picture and you wanted your laser to cut out exactly around your picture, for this, it's a easy square. But for our laser to find it, we'll make some registration marks. So we can make a circle here. Hold Control to make sure that your circle is coming out as a circle instead of an ellipse. And in the corner here, we can select inches. You're going to want to select inches, and I'll tell you why in a second. So our registration marks, they're only visible by the laser if they're exactly 0.25 inches. So we're going to come here and change the measurement of our circles to 0.25 of an inch, making sure it's in inches. We'll go to our stroke paint. In later versions of job control, it did require you to have a cut line around your registration mark for it to be recognized. But in newer versions of job control, this is not necessary anymore. So you can go ahead and select no stroke and just make sure that your registration mark is filled with 100% black. And now that we have one registration mark, you're going to want to duplicate it. So when using your vision camera system, make sure that you're using at least 2 or more registration marks. And of course, the more you use, the more accurate it will be at finding those things. So if you do have something, maybe it's very fine cuts that the camera has to find, I would go ahead and use at least 4 or more registration marks. So go ahead and hold Shift and click on both of these registration marks, and let's just duplicate these. And we'll put 2 more at the bottom of our page. So did we have any more questions before I go ahead and print this and we jump into job control?
Yeah, I've asked the person if they could specify which file they import, and they said it was a JPEG file. Now, if the JPEG file, if it's low resolution, can some of the lines be a bit screwed up on the import? Could that happen, do you think?
If they're trying to import it and expand those into vector lines, then of course, if your picture is blurry, your computer is going to recognize those pixels as maybe shapes or vector lines.
Yeah, he said he's doing a bitmap trace, so I'm assuming he wants to convert it to a vector, or at least.
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's in a perfect world, you would want to use the highest resolution picture that you could find, and the computer should do a pretty good job of making your new shapes and lines to replicate that picture. But of course, not everyone has a perfect high resolution picture, so the computer will pick up on the pixels in that picture. So those pictures will be registered as either a shape, a small square, or just a separate stroke line by itself. So when you're expanding pictures like that, you're going to have to put in the time to edit it and make it as clean as possible. But of course, the higher resolution your photo is, the less of this you'll have to worry about. And of course, you can always play with your settings to make sure that you have less of those
Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
lines popping up. So we'll move on here. We're going to print.
Yeah, sorry about that. Actually, I just wanted to add another comment.
Yep.
Julian said that by default, trace is done with solid infill and no stroke. So to change that, you would go to Object Fill Properties, and then set the color to white, and turn on stroke color. So I can put that for you in the chat there, Anthony. In a sec. We can see it.
Okay.
Object Fill Properties.
And they said by turning this to white, what are they achieving?
Then the proper trace can be made. Set the color to white and turn on stroke color.
Yeah. So for this example, I'm not too sure exactly what they're referring to. I'd have to see their picture, but this might work.
In general, I mean, if you can do a vector file like an EPS, that would be the best file to import. But yeah, like Anthony said, the higher the resolution, the better it'll be for vectorizing the image. And we'll probably later on we'll do a webinar just on vectorizing an image.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, if you are eager to figure this out, we do have a couple videos online that Mike Clark has done showing you exactly. It is with other programs, but it's the same kind of method. You're going to want to adjust your settings so those odd lines and shapes don't pop up once you convert or trace your image.
Yeah, and another person also said, do that after a trace to show the outline path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can move on then.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go back here. And no more questions?
Nope, not for now.
Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much good to go here. We're going to send this to our laser. So again, we'll just go ahead and file print. We're going to select our Trotec engraver here. And once your Trotec engraver is selected as your printer, you're going to want to click on your preferences. And you'll get the Trotec job control preference menu that pops up. So here you'll see this will be the overall dimensions of your job in job control. So if these are too big, it's not going. If it's, for instance, bigger than your working area of your laser, the job queue won't allow you to put this onto your working area because it's too big. So you're going to want to make sure that this is smaller than your laser working area. And I always like to do it as big or just a little bit bigger than what it is that you're making. So of course, if you want to do a selection, you can select, if you want to just only print the star, you can select the star and minimize to job size here. So by clicking this while the star is selected, or anything else, if you wanted to maybe select everything but this one registration mark, you could select everything on this page other than the registration mark. And with this checkbox checked, only those things that were selected will be sent to your laser. So we'll go here and I think we'll change this to, let's do, should be fine. So down here, you'll see we have process modes. We'll keep it with standard. There are some other modes here that are great that Job Control offers, and we could get into those maybe in a future video. Down here, we have color. You can see here there's some other options. I would say if you're using just black and maybe you're just engraving, or just cutting and engraving, maybe not doing any kiss cuts or having multiple cutting parameters, you can use order dithering, and that should speed up your loading time between sending it from your program to your job control. So if you're trying to send things to your job control, it's maybe taking a little too long. By selecting order dithering mode, this will significantly cut down on the loading time it's taking to send to your printer. For now, we'll use color mode, and the reason why is because we do have red, blue, and black here, so we want to make sure that all of our colors are being registered, not just our reds and our blacks. If we go down here, you'll see that you have invert, and you can also flip horizontally and vertically. This is great maybe if you're doing something that's going to go on a window and it's supposed to be meant to be seen from outside, and you're placing it on the inside. You can easily flip your, if it's font or a picture, by clicking the flip horizontally here, if you forgot to do it in your design program. So we always here like to make sure that this checkbox inner geometries first are selected, and all that means is that it's going to, the laser will, before cutting anything, even if it's in your object manager, that it's going to be cut first. If this is selected, your inner geometries are going to be cut out first before anything. So this box may be the first in order from our object managers to be cut, but when this is checked, because this is on the inside of the box, it's going to be cut first, and then our object manager sequence will take place. So why this is important is if this was a sheet of wood, this white square here, and we cut out our wood here, and then cut out our star, this wood, it may not be perfectly flat, or your table might have a little bit of dirt underneath it, and once this square gets cut out, it's going to drop a little bit, or possibly move a little bit. If this is a very important job and maybe it has to be super precise, now this star, because our square here has moved ever so slightly, this star, when it starts to get cut, will now be getting cut in the wrong position because the piece it's getting cut out of has moved. So of course, if we were to cut this star out first, that would not be a problem. The star would fall, our square here would still have to be cut out, and we can go ahead and cut out that square afterwards. So to make a long story short, use the inner geometries. It's always good practice. Of course, unless you have an application where maybe this doesn't make sense for you, but I have yet to see where it does not make sense. So
Anthony,
from here,
yeah, sorry, can we just pause? There's another question regarding only sending what you have selected. This doesn't match my experience. It always prints the entire page. I use another layer and hide it before print.
I can say sometimes you do. I do have the odd time I do send things with our minimized job size selected, and it does send. It will send the full page. This can be a couple different reasons. So we'll get out of here. So in your preferences here, you can come here and click. Go back into preferences. It's not giving me this. So typically, when you're printing, you'll have another section up here that'll say layout, and that might be the reason why when you're sending your minimize the job size or selection, when you're sending it to your laser, it's not it's sending a full page rather than just your selection. If you go into the layout tab, there should be options for you to print the whole page, print from the center of the page only. There's many different options. Accidentally, sometimes if you move your scroll wheel by accident, those check marks in those boxes get selected, and it's happened to me before where I'm sending things to the laser. I don't know why it's not getting sent properly. I check my layout and all my tabs again, and it just so happens that something got bumped, and it said that it's going to fit it to the page, or it's going to enlarge it by a certain percentage, or make it print from the top left corner or something like that. So make sure that all your settings are correct. And as long as you have selection selected here, and you're going into your preferences and using minimize the job size, just that selection should be going to your laser. So if for whatever reason you're seeing otherwise, make sure you're checking all your tabs. So go into your printer preferences, go into your layout tabs if you do have them up here. Make sure you're checking everything, that everything's looking A-okay. So I hope that answered that. If not, you can always contact me and we can work it out together. So we'll go here. I think we're good to go. We'll go in here and make sure. Yeah, so go ahead and press print. And that'll open up our job control. I'll do another print here just as an example. So if you just want to select this part of your artwork to send to the printer, go ahead and select that, or select whatever you may want if you just want to cut out a star. But we'll go ahead and select this whole thing here. We can print, go to our print. So we have our new document here. You can see, if you're not familiar with job control yet, this is job control. You'll see here we can zoom out. This is our working area of our laser. Yours might be a little bit different depending on what laser you have. And these are where all of our jobs get sent to once you print them. So this is like your toolbox. You could come here and select the job that you had just made using your new Inkscape skills. And you can drag it on to your working area. Of course, you can always just double click and it'll snap to the top left corner. Go to the top here and you can click on the what you see is what you get button, and you'll see what you have sent to your laser. So some of you, when you drag your file onto your working area, you might see that some things are missing. Maybe your red lines are missing, your blue lines are missing, your blacks are missing. Typically, this is because they have not been assigned properties yet. So you can come here to the top and click on your material templates, or you can double click anywhere on your working area to bring up your material database. So if you have any materials that you bought from Trotec, of course, they'll be listed here on the side, and you can go ahead and click on the material that you have, and your settings will be automatically generated. Now, of course, if you're trying to engrave or cut materials that maybe you bought yourself, or you got, maybe it's just an organic piece that you found outside, or a piece of wood that you found in your backyard, or somebody wants you to engrave. Of course, we don't have the settings for that. So you can always start off with a base setting. We do have many settings listed on our YouTube channels and videos, or get onto the message boards. I'm sure there's a huge community out there of people sharing their speeds and settings. So you'll see here our red is missing, and it's because we just haven't assigned it any properties. So using our red color, we want to hit our drop down box, and like we said, we want our red to cut. Now, of course, we do use, here at Trotec, we use red to cut, but you can use green to cut or whatever you want to cut. It's all up to you, but here at Trotec we use typically black to engrave, red to cut, and blue to kiss cut. So from here you'll get a certain amount of settings. Hopefully you have material that you've gotten from us that you can select, and your settings get auto-generated. Here I'll mention quickly, if you're doing any cuts, you're going to want to have your air assist on. For engraving, you're going to want to make sure your air assist is off. And let's go ahead and press OK. So now you'll see that our cut lines have appeared. So next, if you click on this, you'll see here in our left-hand corner, we have a couple different details here. So our update button's flashing. If it's flashing, you're going to want to click it. That means that the computer is still loading its calculations. Just keep on clicking that till your numbers stop changing here at the top. So you can see here we have our engraved logo here. It's our black color. That is going to happen first, and it's going to take 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Second, we're going to be doing our kiss cuts. You can see by the scissors there, it's going to be cutting, and it's going to take us 1 second. And our red cuts are going to take us 3 seconds. These are the order of which they're going to cut in. If you want to switch this order up, double click on your working area, and you can drag your colors to be anywhere you like. So if you wanted your kiss cuts to happen before your actual cuts, you can drag them on top, or vice versa. Or if you don't want it to run in one job, you can always skip that kiss cut and do it later. So let's move on here. You can see, because we are doing kiss cuts with our blue, our power is significantly lower than our actual cut here. So if we win and press play, our laser would read our registration marks, know exactly where it's positioned. It'll engrave our Trotec here, engrave our underline, cut out our star, kiss cut our star positioning, and then cut out our board. From there we can then take our cutout star, and we know exactly where to place it onto our kiss cut star here. So I was going to show you guys the difference between having a selection, if you were to select this and send it over to the printer. Typically, if you were to select your shape and send it to the printer, just your shape should show up, and not the registration marks. Now this may be important for you. Maybe you have a small piece of material and it's in the corner here, and you want it to be perfectly square, so it's in that corner. You can see here, because we have our registration marks, see the outline of our jobs, it's going to be impossible to put that job into the corner. So the only way to do so is to send this to our laser with only our box selected. If this is sent over with just our box, we are now able to move that box into the top left corner. Now, to do that, you should be able to select a shape or a font or a line, go to print, and you should be able to click selection only. I seem to be having some problems with my computer, so for the moment, it is not letting me do this. But I can assure you that this should be a selection. You should be able to select your selection and select minimize the job size and print. So we'll try this right now and see if just a selection box there will help us out. If not, I think the other user was saying that they'll make their selection and move to a layer. So we have layer 1. You can create many layers. This gets into the more advanced stuff, but this is almost like our object manager. The only difference is a layer can hold a selected amount of objects. So it's pretty much the same thing, where instead of having a list of your objects, you're going to be having a list of group of objects within each layer. So let's see if that got sent to our job control.
Also, Julian commented, also note that the bottom reg marks are partially cropped. There are some bugs with auto size from job. Becomes a bigger issue with larger sizes.
Yeah, we seem to be having that problem here right now.
Yeah, and they also said there is no layout tab for Inkscape. I think you're thinking about Illustrator. I've never seen what's been described as Inkscape print dialog. I don't know. That might be the case.
It might be. Shouldn't be though. I am having this problem though. That is odd. So let's see if we could just tackle this really quickly. You should be able to select this, whatever it is that you want to select. And we'll go to our document properties. So you can see here that our registration marks got clipped because this page, you can see from here, is 11.69 inches. When I printed it, and we went to our preferences, I made this 11.1 inches. So if I just change this to 9, or let's just make it 12 inches. And print this again. You can now see our registration marks they fully appear. So if, as far as selecting, just selections, I'll look into it more. There might be a workaround for this. But as far as I know now, if you wanted to maybe just only send this over, I would maybe change your height to crop your page size to exactly what it is your selection is. You could also use a combination of layers. Again, we will try to figure this out. This is usually not the case. So, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, the person said maybe we could chat offline. We use Inkscape exclusively with our machine. Plus, I run some Inkscape classes, so I've asked their company, and then we can reach out to them online. But also, if you guys have specific questions about Inkscape, Anthony, I think I can put your email address in the chat.
Yeah, guys.
And then, yeah, if you guys have any questions for Anthony, he can see if he can help you out with it. We are, Anthony, we're past the 1 hour mark. Do we have any more to go?
No, we're pretty much good to go, unless people have some other questions.
Well, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing. If you guys are using the vision camera system, maybe you got the vision camera system with your laser to start, you're just going to want to make sure that if you're doing any engraving afterwards, you'll have to change your engraving to a different color other than black. Because of course, if we go into our material database settings here, our engrave for black, it's engrave, but we want that to actually be there should be a registration. It'll say reg mark here. So click on reg mark, and that's what we're going to be using our black for. So because our blacks are being used for the reg marks, you're going to want to change anything you want engraved to a different color here.
Yeah, and we plan on doing a specific webinar for UV printing and job control vision. Just go a full sort of walkthrough through that. So we'll do more webinars on that. Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty basic. If you guys do have any more questions, please send them in so we can address them in a more advanced Inkscape webinar.
Anthony, could you take off the screen share on your end?
Yeah.
So I just want to say that we will have more webinars in the future. The sort of basics webinar like this one will be free and public to all users, but we are planning to have premium webinars for Trotec customers. If you own a Trotec machine, they will be paid for non-Trotec customers. That's kind of in the works for next year, and we'll do very specific webinars for vectorizing. The triangle method of how we did how Anthony did the stained glass window. You guys saw the video for that, and obviously more specific things for job control, specifically for Trotec users. So just watch out for that. It'll be called the Trotec Academy in the new year, and Anthony will be our sort of head instructor for that. So I don't see any questions, and if you guys, this video will be posted on our YouTube channel. So in the training playlist, if anyone has any further questions, you can put it in the description of the video after it gets posted, and we'll definitely reply to that. And also you can email Anthony directly in the email I provided, anthony.gibson@troteclaser.com. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Anthony, thank you very much for presenting. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you guys viewing these on your busy days, and the more viewers and the more questions we get, the better our videos will get. So start asking those questions.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Thanks everyone very much. Take care. Have a good day.
See you guys.
See ya.